And yeah, we're about to get started with map number 1, ladies and gents. It is going to be Flyback by Tona, characterized by an identity with the ring reactor boosts at the end of it. So let's actually get a bit of a run through the map with the perspective of our man Tween from the Pittsburgh. Let's see if he's rolling. Let's actually check in on Carl Jr. first. So, bump road, just do the jump transition right here onto the dirt with CP3, and then with the grass reactor, you're gonna want to exit the corner properly towards the outside, then at the jump orient the car towards the right as you cross the boost and release a little bit to and stabilize the car to perfectly nail the landing. Then we get onto CP6 and 7 pretty soon here. We see that huge hairpin turn right before the first pillar to get through there, then second really tight chicane. And then at this jump, make sure to release a little bit and go towards the left side to clinch the to catch the reactor boost, then onto CP8, catch a little bit of airtime, go through the people here, through the spectators, and go through these light sand on before the ice, between the wall and the cactus, and then the identity coming up right here. For this particular map, you need a 180 rotation at the jump that we're going to be seeing Papu perform right here. So 180 rotation towards the right, get the reactor boost, release to avoid touching the reset ring, and then fly towards the finish line. Make sure not to go too fast though, or you could fly over the finish really easily. So that is the presentation of map 1 of this step, which is going to be Flyback by Tona, and everyone is pretty much ready. We're currently seeing Tween getting a banker lap in. And yeah, there we go. We're about to get started with this step, guys. Good luck, have fun. Spam go tweet in the chat to show your support to the man. Here we go. The crowd are going wild in game. TrackMania Grand League Fall 2020 is go. Following the perspective of our man Tween from the Pittsburgh Knights. Currently in the middle of the pack, heading into checkpoint 2. It is currently Yannick who is holding the lead, but we're seeing the field still quite spread out at the moment. As we're going back to the helicam here for the very first time in this Grand League season, we're currently seeing Carl and Gwen first and second, with Papu in third. Oh, we got someone. It was Afi who unfortunately had a bit of an issue landing, and it seems as though Scrappy's made a mistake as well. So, oh, and Tween forced to respawn, so that's not the most auspicious start for our man Tween. He's already 7 seconds behind on the leading pack, which is currently led as a matter of fact by Pack. Thomas Cole currently leading the field for Eminent Gaming, going over the chicane. Nicely done. Oh, bad landing from one of the players. It was Evan from Team Secret going through the people. Carl with more speed than Papu and potentially Pack moving up to second. The Canadian right now, the Grand League reigning champion, trying to overtake Pack before the identity right now. Let's see how this will go from the perspective of Papu, currently sitting in third place. Oh, Carl Jr. nearly touching the inside wall. Oh, Carl with less speed. He's going for a really low line, really risky line through there. It seems to pay off as Papu is moving up to second position. Pack in third place after that poor landing. Ooh. You can hear the people chanting with Bren getting the most hearts, the most support at the end. So it is go Bren here for for the man from Kameto Corporation, currently sitting in P11, but the standings after lap 1, it is Carl, Papu, Pack, Spam, Afi, Evan, Kappa, Riolu, Tween, Riolu, Yannick, and Gwen in top 10, with currently battling it out with Riolu and Kappa for the benefit of 7th and 6th position even. Evan currently sitting in P5, not really looking too shabby for a first outing, but he gets the no drift right before the hairpin, so not really looking good for Evan right here, who gets overtaken left, right, and center before the jump of his chicane. Back to 11th place he goes. Meanwhile, at the front, it is Carl Jr. pulling away by around 3/10 from Papu in second place, who's going to have to fend off the attacks of Pack in third position. And Spam currently the Dutchman in fourth position, 1 second down on the leader. He's 3/10 in front of Gwen, who's going to try to pile on the pressure and trying to put the Dutchman at risk as we go through the reactor loop. Nicely negotiated by pretty much the top players here. Afi with much more speed than Gwen will land in front of Gwen and move up to 5th place. Gwen down in 6th position, battling it out with Kappa for P6, and Kappa also being pressured by Riolu. Meanwhile, Tween is way down on the field. He's currently down in 16th position, 40 seconds down on the leader, which is currently Pack, Carl, and Papu. The top 3 still really going at it, with less than 2/10 between first and third at the moment, so it is looking really good right now. You can see neck and neck, wheel to wheel. We're currently seeing Pack and Carl Jr. Papu getting in the mix as well. Meanwhile, Afi is getting a little bit left behind, 1.3 seconds down on the leaders. Oh, touching the inside, allowing Spam to move up to P4, and actually Kappa up to P5, Evan up to P6 potentially. Yeah, so Afi is down from 4th to 7 in the blink of an eye due to a single mistake at the chicane, but Evan with less Actually, who was that with less speed? Who was it? I think it was Evon, yeah. Got overtaken by P7, so yeah, currently we're seeing Papu, Carl, and Pack in 1, 2, 3, as we edge towards the end of lap number 3. Currently, the fastest lap is held by Pack with a 108.443. Let's see who was the fastest man on the track as of lap 3. Papu going really wide in 108.322. That's the lap record here on flyback. Fastest lap for Papu at the moment. 3/10 clear from Massa in second in the pace charts. Currently 11th place, 5.5 seconds down on the leaders, but it seems that the Bren made a mistake. He's down in P11, so Massa up to P10. Matt battling it out with Bren for the benefit of 11th position. Meanwhile, at the front, it's still looking pretty close, less than a second between first and third, but they're making the breakaway from their pursuers, with currently Afi under pressure from Evon for 5th position. That's the battle that's currently unfolding right now. Spam having a bit of a lonely race, 2.3 seconds down on the leader. Let's actually check in back on the leaders. Ooh, Afi going a bit wide at the exit with more speed at the as a return, and will keep that 5th place away, and 5th place and wrestle it away from Evon's. Oh, Evon touching the cactus on the inside, proving really costly as he sees both Kappa, Yannex, and also Riolu moving up past him, so he's down to P9, and Matt is not far behind with Bren also in his clutches. So it is going to be really interesting to see Papu almost touching the top of the ring here, but Papu with so much speed, the Gamers Origin driver looking really strong out there, currently holding the lead, but with a bad drift. He got the no drift at the first corner on the exit the entry of lap 5, so Carl Jr. inherits the lead with 0.3 of a second. Spam is the fastest man on track as of lap number 4 with a 108.688. The Dutchman playing for Team Alliance looking pretty good so far, with 4th place right now in this first lap. Although he almost rolled over at the reactor boost section, he manages to keep it together and tries to cling on to the lead pack, which are still going at it. Less than half a second between first and third, then 1.7 seconds down we find Spam, and then Afi currently holding off P5 from his fellow compatriot Yannex, as we're currently seeing that Yannex is making some good progress. Tween is not stopped driving. He's just starting lap 5 now. He had a huge blunder at the first lap, so yeah, unfortunately it is not the most suspicious of starts for our man from the Pittsburgh Lions, as we're edging towards the end of lap 5 and about to start the final lap. Carl, Papu, and Pack 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Carl going for a low line again, thankfully not glitching the reset, or did it? No, he didn't. Meanwhile, Carl will cross the line in first place, Papu second, Pack in third place. Sorry for the desynchronization here on Pack here. Spam in P4, Yannex 5th, Afi 6th, Riolu 7th, battling it out with Evon, who took 7th place. Carl Jr. fastest man on lap 5 with a 108.464. Kappa 9th, Orel in P10, then we got Massa, and Bren seems to have made another mistake as well. Gwen as well. Gwen down in 14th place, Bren 15th, and Tween, well, down in 16th position. Let's hope that he will be able to finish on time. Meanwhile, at the front, Papu managed to overtake Carl Jr. before CP number 5, so currently it is the Frenchman who is leading the charge at the moment against the Canadian, as we're going to be following the perspective of the reigning champion here. Carl-Anthony Cloutier will try to make inroads on Papu's advantage. Nicely done from Carl Jr., keeping around the same speed as Papu. Papu keeping the gap around 0.2 of a second between himself and the Canadian. Maybe he's got this in the back, but we saw that everything can happen in TrackMania, and usually does. Final identity crossing for Papu and Carl Jr. Carl going for the low line, and it seems as though he won't pay off. No, more speed for Papu. Will he overshot the finish? No, he will cross the line in first place for the first win for Papu. Oh, that was really loud. Sorry about that. Carl Jr. in P2, Pack in P3, Spam in P4, Yannex 5th, Afi 6th, Riolu 7th in front of Kappa, Evon, Massa, Orel, Matt, Scrappy will be crossing the line in P13. Sorry for the sound blaring through your ears, guys. Gwen in P14, Bren in P15, and it seems as though, unfortunately for Tween, it will not be possible. That's a non-score. That is unfortunate for Tween. That is not how the step was supposed to start, but it seems as though the damage was already done for Tween as the result of the first blunder. So full score for Papu as a result of map 1, the 20 points for the win, and the fastest lap of the race to boot, as we're heading on to map number 2. And as revealed in the map order, map number 2 is going to be Eurostep by table. Eurostep characterized with a slalom between poles towards the end with the final jump, and also some pretty tricky sections overall. We're going to see that in the discovery lap with one of the champions during the warm-up. So as we see Tween currently rolling on this track, let's actually see how he the key points here for this track. Turn 1 fairly standard, go through the CP pillars, then onto the loop for CP3 rather. Then stick to the inside for this jump right here, then over the hump you go, over the barrier to land into the dirt for CP4. Make sure to land take your car towards the inside to level out that transition to avoid getting any airtime. Then CP6 with this tight right-hander between the barriers. Watch out on that clever on exit. And then on the transfer we go. Make sure to have around 300 kilometers to clear it. And then there you go, making the transfer perfectly here. Then onto this dirt part. Make sure to keep your car as straight as possible to negotiate that as much as cleanly as you can. Then straighten the car over there to avoid getting any airtime. 270 kilometers an hour to clear this jump into CP9 right here. Then we move on to a series of jumps. Make sure to clip the apex on the inside, widen the exit as much as you can, then first jump, second jump, then third jump until CP11, sorry. Papu moving on to CP11 jump around here, 330 kilometers needed to complete it, and then the identity slalom, no drifts, just a bit of a release for some players, 400 for the first corner, 400 for the second, 400 for the third for Papu right here, and then the final turn, U-turn on the outside, right U-turn, and across the start finish line, then jump towards the first checkpoint. Here we go. Good luck, have fun, everyone. Map 2 about to get underway. Here we go. Papu currently leading the step with 22 points after the first map of the opening phase. There we go. The field spreading out really nicely here as it gives us a chance to get back to the helicam. Currently, Pack and Jan and Kappa bringing up the rear. Pack bringing up the rear at the moment as we head into the CP4 dirt jump. Carl Jr. emerging in the lead in front of Spam and Scrappy at the moment. And yeah, the battle is still pretty fierce. Massa in the thick of it with 5th position at the moment. Meanwhile, our man Tween is down towards the lower end of the field. Currently, no big mistakes so far as we head into the transfer jump for the first time in this step. Let's see the transfer, nicely done, but a bit high on behalf of Tween. So yeah, he dropped down to 15th as Yannick's, Kappa, and it seems as though it was Aurel had a bit more. Gwen, sorry, had a bit more low of a line compared to Tween there. CP9 jump, nicely negotiated by all the players. It seems as though no big mistakes so far. Oh, as I say that, Scrappy responding way far back before CP8. So yeah, that's pretty much done and dusted for Scrappy in this map. Meanwhile, Kappa down in P15 is trying to catch back up to the rest of the field, and towards the front we're seeing a huge battle right now. Carl Jr. is trying to pull away from Spam. He's currently 2/10 ahead of the 2012 World Champion. Let's actually see, was there any stall pick? Gwen going for an alternative line through there. Nicely done by Gwen. The totem evolving really drastically here as Spam moves up into first place and crosses the line with the fastest lap to boot with a 125.751. Carl Jr. battling it out and retaking first place from Spam. Gwen is up into third place. Massa in P4. Papu 5th, Pack 6th, Riolu 7th, Afi 8th, and currently Tween down in 9th place, but still keeping tabs on the battle out front, and he could potentially be a bit of an opportunist here and try to take advantage of a mistake to move up the leaderboard and score some crucial points after that down score on map number 1. Meanwhile, he's going to have to fend off the attacks of Aurel, though. The 22-year-old from GamingPrivé.com is going to have much more speed into the transfer and will be overtaking Tween before CP7. So yeah, nicely done from Aurel. Tween unfortunately down to P9 as he tries to battle with Matt for the benefit of P9. It's going to be close. He still keeps P9 just at CP8 as we move on to the jump. Nicely negotiated. Ooh, a bit of a sketchy landing almost from Riolu here. But from Massa here, but apparently he is looking good. But Pack, who was a bit further up the field, is down to P8 as a result of that. And Tween moving up to P8, even lower than P8 for Pack, is P9. Battling it out with Kappa for 9th position. Meanwhile, up front, Carl Jr. 10th and a half away ahead of Spam in 2nd place, but he has to release a bit too much in the slalom, so Spam will be re-overtaking him before the finish line and get another fastest lap under the belt with a 122.099. Riolu moving up to P3, battling it out with Papu for 3rd place as a result of that, but Papu with the really weird landing and the full stop pick to boot moves Massa up to P4, Kappa 5th, Aurel 6th, and Tween is up to P7. So yeah, it seems as though the points finishers are coming slowly but surely for Tween. He's gonna have to pay attention to the mistakes from others and try to keep everything in check. Meanwhile, Bren, it seems as though, yeah, Bren, I don't know what happened. Bren has retired, our first retirement of the season for Bren for the Kameta Corp. Unfortunately for him, that will be a non-score. He will be remaining in 2 points. Thankfully, they don't not lose any points for a non-score here, but still not what we want to see, even in the early stages of the step. Tween battling it out for 7th with Orel in the section before CP8. Actually battling it out for, yeah, P7 at the moment. Then Kappa up next, as well as Pack and Massa for up to 4th position at the moment. Meanwhile, at the front, Spam making a breakaway from Carl Jr. Carl Jr. not able to have any response to the pace of Spam at the moment. It seems as though the Dutchman from Alliance is looking really, really strong on Eurostep. This could be really important in terms of point scoring for him. Meanwhile, Tween still embroiled in this really tight battle for 5th position. Oh, a huge release, I think it was from Orel. Yeah, but Tween has to release equally as hard, even harder than Orel. So he will be down in 8th place as we hear Go Papu in the stadium. 121.663, the new fastest lap for Spam, currently pulling away from 7/10 to Carl Jr. Riolu in 3rd place, 1 second down on Carl Jr. Then we find an exciting battle for P4. Oh, Spam has a huge bad landing here, and thus he will be down in P4 and potentially under threat from Kappa and Massa, who are going to be threatening him for 4th position. Maybe this could be the chance for Tween to catch back up, although he's going to have to try and fend off the attacks of Evon. It does really work so far for Tween, and he's not able to keep his 8th place in check, although Evon seems to have had a really low landing. He could have crashed, but thankfully he managed to keep it all together, and so remains in 8th position in front of Tween right here, as we're heading towards the halfway point. We're past the halfway point of the race already. We're heading towards the end of lap number 4. Carl Jr., as a result of Spam's blunder, moves up into the lead and has a 1.2 second buffer to Pack in 2nd position. The battle for 2nd and even 3rd place is still everything to play for. Spam catching back up and overtaking Riolu for 3rd place and trying to catch back up on his former Dignitas teammate Pack as he tries to retake 2nd position from the hands of the British driver. Let's see, Carl Jr. here releasing to around 380, 390, still able to keep 400 at the final corner though, but this is where he lost out Magdan to Pack in the very first laps. Meanwhile, he will be crossing the line in 1st place. Scrappy currently bringing up the rear, 15 seconds down on the leader. And let's actually check in on Tween, currently down in P9. Pack, the fastest man on the track with the 121.977. 3/10 away from the fastest lap of the race, which is currently credited to Spam. But yeah, currently Pack 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds down on Carl Jr., so he's going to have a lot of work to do if he is to catch up to the leader. Meanwhile, Orel seemed to have had a bit of a bad transition here on the dirt. So yeah, Tween moving up to P8, Evon up to 7th. Great performance from the Polish players so far on this map. Let's hope it sticks together for him. Nice landing on the transition jump. Tween again battling it out with the Orel, again going for that really high line on the transfer, as we're going to be heading back to the helicam to see how spread the field is. This is the spreading of the field right now. Matt 20 seconds down on the leader, is down in last place. Meanwhile, Pack is trying to catch back up, but a sketchy landing allows Massa and Spam to move through, and Spam has regained 2nd position, but he's not alone to try and want that. Here is Riolu trying to catch back up to P2. Gaining slowly but surely on Spam. Will Spam be able to hold him off in the identity? We're going to have to see. Spam currently on the roll of pace. After having held the lead for a couple of laps, he made a huge mistake at the start of lap 4. So yeah, it is going to be really, really close here. But Spam manages to get through and have more pace than Riolu at the end of this lap. And we enter the final lap of the race with Carl, Spam, and Riolu 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Massa in P4, really great performance for Berlin International gaining at the moment. But the battle for P2 still rages on between Riolu and Spam. Meanwhile, Tween is currently sitting in P8 at the moment. It seems as though Evon's made a bit of a mistake and dropped down to P10. So into the top 8 we go for Tween, currently trying to catch back up to Orel, but with a bad landing, he sees Yannick's moving up into his mirrors right here. The Swiss player for Life Esports is currently sitting in P9, 9 points for him after map 1. Still looking good right now to score some decent points right here. Name tags are not really looking great. They're not possible to turn them on. I just tested it out, Witty, so there you go. 1.5 seconds between Spam and Carl Jr. in first, and Spam in 2nd. Riolu in 3rd, trying to pile the pressure on to Spam as we head into CP9 towards the end of the map at the moment. Massa down 2.4 seconds on the leader, battling it out with Pack for 4th position. He still retains 4th position at the moment, but oh, the bad landings from Massa at the jumps, that's devastating. He moves down to P5 and even P6 as Kappa moves past him. Yannick's and Orel 7th and 8th, then we got Tween in 9th. Meanwhile, at the front, it seems as though Carl Jr.'s got it under the in the back, and they are going to be heading onto first place. Gwen snatching the fastest lap of the race. Carl Jr. winning map 2. Spam in second place. Riolu third. Pack fourth. Kappa 5th. Massa 6th. Orel 7th. Tween in 8th. Tween in 9th place, actually. No, Tween in 8th place in front of Yannick's. Evon. Gwen, who snatches the fastest lap of the race as well. Ooh, Papu in second, 12th. Afi 13th. Scrappy in P14, as we saw a mistake from Matt. P14 for Scrappy, and Matt in P15 should be able to get to the finish line and score the points. One retirement to report, that of Brent for Kameto Corp, the second non-point scorer here on this first step. So 20 points for Carl Jr., who moves up into the lead of the step. 34 points for him, 26 for Papu. Pam third with 24, Pack fourth with 22 points. As we head onto map number 3, we're already done with stage 1. We're already moving on to stage 2, ladies and gentlemen, with a 50% point loss for anyone finishing in the bottom 8 of the following 2 maps. And the first map for this second stage is going to be Sidewave by Link, characterized by a zigzag that you can see here on the map preview, oscillating between ice, dirt, and road. As we're going to be following the perspective, let's see, of the 2016 World Champion Pack from M&M Gaming. Starts off with the grass section right here, and they're sure to go as close as possible to the apex, then go close to the apex right here after CP1, CP2 right here, moving on to the dirt, moving on to the road right here. Then onto this platform section, sweeping left-hander, then onto the dirt. Make sure to keep your car low on the entry, then straighten it out on the exit to get the transition right. Then catch the freewheel and catch the reactor boost, then move on to cam 3 for this upside down loop. There you go. Then onto the ice, pitch the car over 90 degrees towards the left, then counter steer for the ice slide, perfectly executed from Pack, who moves up into first place in this warm-up, then onto the platform, and then second part, flat ice this time around, pitch the car in, turn counter steer to get the ice slide, and then exit onto the road. Then a little bit of a techie part here on this one here, some technical sections with a few drifts required. Go outside of both poles as we're heading into the identity in a short few moments. Go through the trees, through the spectators again, and head onto the identity. So first snaking section on the road, then onto the ice, pitch the car in early, then counter steer, go for the ice slide here, then go for a dirt slide right here on this dirt, then half ice, half dirt, and then the final corner on the road. Then a bit of an ice patch, so be careful at the exit here. Then final checkpoint, ice downhill to go towards the final straights and go to the finish line. Good luck, have fun, everyone. We're about to get underway with Sidewave by Link. As we're going to be checking in on our man from the Pittsburgh Knights, Tween. You can see here, bottom 8 will lose half of the points. You can see that on the left-hand side of your screen. So yeah, we're going to see how this will go for some of the big point scorers, which you see huge upsets here being made already at the midway point as we're heading back to the Helicam in this instance, with all 16 players within a second of each other at the moment. Gwen and Massa first and second, Papu third, Spam fourth as we head into the loop right here. Not really being able to see much on the Helicam as we're heading back to the point of view. A Scrappy Pack with a really nicely executed ice slide moves up into first place in front of Orel, Papu, and Scrappy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Afi 5th, Gwen 6th, Evon and Massa 7th and 8th. Tween moving up to P9, going through the snow. Yannick's able to overtake him, and it seems as though Kappa moving up from P12 to P8 in one fell swoop. Nicely done by the Czech player. Meanwhile, Tween currently sitting in P9 at the moment. Spam having made a mistake, and so he's down in P10. Carl Jr. down in P11. The points leader not really faring too well towards the end of lap 1 as we head onto the identity for the first time here. No drift for Tween, opting to cut the grass. Then onto the ice we go. Nicely done from Tween. Oh, Evan touching the outside wall, so he's going to be demoted down to demoted down the leaderboard as Spam and Tween also have a bit of a white slide, so they are going to be demoted down to P6 to P10. He's outside the top 10 right now. Tween Pack with the 125.602 692, sorry, is the fastest man on track, fastest lap of the race. Scrappy moving up to P2. The Belgian playing for Lazarus is looking really good at the moment after lap 1. Massa in P3, Papu P4, Afi 5th, Kappa 6, Yannick 7th, Aurel in P8. Meanwhile, Tween has made a huge mistake that I didn't catch on camera. Really sorry about that, but he's finding himself 5.1 seconds away from safety, away from the top 10. That's not looking good. for Tween at the moment, as we're heading back towards the front of the field with Yannick at the moment trying to catch back up to his compatriot Afi right now. Playing for Team BDS, 5th and 6th place for the two Swiss drivers at the moment, with the two swapping places. Although the full stopping from Yannick sees him being demoted really heavily here, down in P13. Aurel, Gwen, and Carl Jr. move up into the standings as a result of that. Carl Jr. keeping his 34 points safe, barely at the moment. Meanwhile, onto the identity we go with Pac and Papu. Papu currently chasing Pac around 3/10 down on the leader, as we're heading towards the second half of the identity. Nice dirt slide from Papu here. Pac still in first place at the moment, heading towards the end of the track, and it seems as though he will be your leader entering lap 3 with a 121.993 though from Papu, fastest man on track at the moment. Nicely done from the Frenchman. Meanwhile, it's actually checking on Tween. He's 8.6 seconds down from safety. He seems as though it's all unraveling again for our man, unfortunately not being able to score many points in this particular opening step and this particular phase. And yeah, unfortunately for him, it seems as though the challenge is over already, but we're gonna have to see how this goes. Meanwhile, toward the top 8 at the moment, Carl Jr. currently completing the top 8, less than 3/10 in front of Spam in 9th position. He will be the first to lose half of his points. He's trying to catch back up to Carl Jr. Aurel with a bit of an inside line. Carl Jr. messing up the ice slide. Thankfully, he has more speed towards the exit of it, so he's up to P6. But Spam doesn't really manage to make the move stick on the ice slide, though, and he's finding himself having to fight with Riolu and Gwen for the benefit of P9 and P10. And even P8. Ooh, what happened to Riolu? The full stop pick. The double bonk, the pinball effect for Riolu demotes him down to P13. Meanwhile, Bren moves up to P8, the man from Kameto Corp, not having had a great run after, so far in this step, with only 2 points scored over the first 2 maps. Meanwhile, at the front, Papu has made a mistake, and so he is now finding it with Massa for benefit of P2, the Berlin International Gaming player, looking really good at the moment. As we enter lap 4, Papu still credited with the fastest lap of the race with a 121.993. Scrappy in P4, currently 2.82 seconds down on the leader, but he has a rookie currently in his clutches, and that is Afi from Team BDS, the Swiss player, currently sitting in P5 and trying to pressure Scrappy for 4th position, and it's looking really good for a good points haul here in this third map here for Afi. Meanwhile, Carl is in P6. Aurel and Spam complete the top 8, but yeah, Spam is still under threat potentially from Bren, who is currently half a second down on Spam at the moment. Carl Jr. down to P7 after a bit of a blunder, I'm assuming, on some of the ice corners. Oh, what happened to Spam? Spam is forced to respawn. He went too wide on the ice slide, and so he's down to P13 and well at risk of losing at least to 12 points here in this very first map of the second stage. Gwen moving up to P8. Yannick's not too far off from a point saving position here, but he touches the pole and gets overtaken by Evon, the Polish driver, moving up to P9 and within striking distance of the P8, currently held by Carl Jr. He's 7/10 down on the Canadian. Meanwhile, at the front, Pac and Papu had it again, 1st and 2nd, 3/10. And Papu misses up the grass slide, or the dirt slide, should I say, and so Massa moves up to P2 as we're getting onto lap number 5. And Papu is still credited with the fastest lap of the race, so those 2 extra points still go for him at the moment, but it could very well change. It seems as though Massa is looking pretty good on pace, and he's looking pretty good in terms of consistency as well. 122.883 for Pac, 9/10 away from the fastest lap from Papu, who put on quite a show after lap number 2 here. Afi in P5, Aurel P6, Carl Jr. in P7, Gwen in P8, Evon half a second down from Gwen. Meanwhile, Tween, he's 8.5 seconds away from safety and currently battling with Spam for P14, so yeah, currently not looking good for Tween and Spam at the moment here, unfortunately for us. Meanwhile, let's actually check in on Bren, currently in 12th place. It seems that he's having trouble. He's 5 seconds down from away from being safe in the top 8. Riolu, after that blunder, is down in P11, 2.5 seconds down on Carl Jr. Yannick and Evon are trying to catch back up, but it seems that we had a mistake from Gwen, and Gwen is down in 9th place, and Yannick could potentially trying to catch him back up. Evon moving up to the top 8. Carl Jr. Still in P7 at the moment, moving up places. as we're heading into the identity for this penultimate time for Pac, Papu, and Masa at the moment. Masa going for a bit of an inside line, doesn't manage to get as much speed to pull it off though, and so gets down in 4th place. Scrappy had made a mistake, so he's down from 4th to 6th. Aurel in P5, Afi in P4. Meanwhile, oh, Pac has made a mistake, forced to respawn, and so Papu inherits the lead. Masa moves up to P2 as we head on to the final lap. Papu could be heading for a second straight win in this step, second straight map win, should I say, in this step at the moment. Yannick's overtaking Gwen for P9. This could be important. This could mean around 4 points lost, but he is not done. He's not giving up without a fight, Gwen. He's moving up to back to P8 and remoting Yannick's down to P9. Looking pretty good so far. Gwen is Carl Jr. still in P7, not scoring many points, but still on course to still have his 34 points remain, but Papu could be the one with the biggest W here, with 22 points potentially up for grabs if he manages to keep that fastest lap up and coming. So yeah, Papu looking really good at the moment, currently heading into the final section of the map with the 1 second buffer between himself and Masa in second place. Pac is 2.7 seconds down on the leader, 1.7 seconds down on Masa in 3rd place. Then we see a battle for 4th between Afi and Aurel, but Aurel made a mistake, so Afi moving up to P4. Scrappy is now the next one to potentially try and put up a fight to Aurel as we're heading back towards the identity for the 6th and final time in this step. Masa trying to catch back up to Papu, but it seems as though Papu's got this in the bag unless a catastrophe happens in the final few slides. Papu manages to get it under control, and he will win the map. Masa touching the wall on the outside. Pac under pressure from Afi. Ooh, Papu winning with 121.993. Masa second. Pac will just about remain in 3rd place. Afi in P4. Aurel 5th. Scrappy 6th. Carl Jr. in P7. And Yannick's in P8. Evon down, the first to lose 50% of his points. Riolu in P10. Gwen 11th. Brent 12th. Spam 13th. Tween 14th. And Kappa, the 2018 World Champion and Beta Season Champion, down in P15, will lose half of his points as well. Now, they still score the points for the for the map finish, but unfortunately, they will have to be content with some of the points that they lost. So, 48 points for Papu, retaking the lead, 7 points ahead of Carl Jr. Pac, 3rd place with 34 points. Tween, unfortunately for us, is down in 14th place with 6 points as we head on to map number 4 of this step, the second map of the second stage, and it is going to be prepare your Yep trees. It is Tree Jump by Nadeo. So yeah, consisting of 2 dirt jumps between trees with a nice corner to finish it off. So yeah, it is going to be pretty interesting to see how the players react to that. So heading onto this first corner right here, onto the ice section right here, get a little bit of a cut through here, through the first section, then pitch the car before the second CP, initiate down slide before the CP, and slide in between the first 2 trees right here to get through and get through the reactor boost. Then keep it towards the inside here on this ice corner. Then CP 3 and 4 nicely negotiated. Then do a bit of a wiggle right here to keep your car level on the ground and keep airtime at a minimum. Then initiate the slide towards the left and use the camber to get a bit of airtime and set up the car towards the right side for the right hand corner. Pitch the car before the first bollard, then ice slide towards the right. If gonna execute it correctly and with the right timing, you get with supreme speed into the banked corner, the bump stake part. Then we move on to the bumper road with the jump right here around, I'd say around 300 kilometers an hour. It lays 290 to clear it as we see it from the perspective of Carl Jr. Then we head onto this dirt loop and then the onto the ice jump, 350 kilometers, then release a fair bit for clearing the jump really low. Then 270 for the second jump. You can see that some people might fail it, and then ice slide right here in the second, in the final corner. If done correctly, go through the 2 trees in the middle and cross the start-finish line to start another lap. So that's the end of this presentation of Yep Tree, or Tree Jump, should I say, by Nadeo. Good luck, have fun, everyone. Map 4 underway. Oh, it seems as though we do have a break here. What is happening? It says that we have a break, but but everybody seems to be playing, so what is happening? We're just gonna have to wait and see, as we're currently seeing all the players looking to be underway at the moment. So Carl Jr. having a bit of a clinch on the inside line, as yeah, unfortunately I'm able to somewhat change the perspectives, but only with the arrow keys, and Tween has a bit of a mistake. It seems as though, yeah, we are under a pause, as everybody seems to be slowing down a little bit. It seems as though we are currently on a break situation here. So, perfect opportunity for you to for me to remind you that yeah, we do have a brand new sponsor on board, and I think it is fair to say that part of our Pittsburgh Knights coverage of the TrackMania Grand League Winter 2020 season is brought to you by ExpressVPN. If you sign up with ExpressVPN right now using pks.gg/ExpressVPN for a 12-month plan, you get 3 free months of VPN service. For more information on the entire deal, go to pks.gg/ExpressVPN. So, shill over, let's get ready. It seems as though we're already underway for the map. I missed the start as a result of that shill. Meanwhile, let's check the perspective of Scrappy from Lazarus over the start. We're heading towards CPs 3 and 4 at the moment. Papu emerging the clear leader in this particular map. Tween moving up to P2, battling it out with Carl Jr. and Massa at the moment. Massa emerging in second place. Everybody still remaining fairly close, as we can see from the helicam. 1 second between first and last is my guesstimate, as we see a mistake from Massa already. So yeah, Massa not really looking good at the moment in terms of point scoring. Everybody going through the ice slide. Papu in first in front of Scrappy and Tween, with also Carl Jr. in the mix. Meanwhile, a really nice intense battle between for all the positions are currently playing out. Scrappy having a bit of a worse exit of the ice compared to the rest of the field, and so sees Tween moving up to P2, as well as Carl Jr. and Bren, but Bren has made a mistake touching the inside wall. Manages to clear the jump though, but he's down in P10. Gwen moving up to P8, actually battling it out for P8 with Aurel, who will get the tree. Oh no, it seems as though Tween got the tree. No, it's not Tween, it's Carl Jr. The 2020 Winter Grand League champion has, treed Scrappy as well. Yannick's currently still running with up front. Still running out front, sorry, after lap 1, 121.102. Sorry for the long pauses as I try to hear what's going on in the game right now. Papu 1.1 second in front of Aurel. Daffy in third place at the moment. Pack in fourth position. Kappa fifth, and Tween in P6 right now. So Tween looking good so far on this opening this opening phase of the map at the moment. Currently trying to put the pressure on Afi, Sebastian Folter from Team BDS. The 22-year-old from Switzerland looking to pile the pressure himself on Aurel for P2 at the moment. It seems as though he's not really managing to make the move happen, although Pac manages to make some moves and move back up to P4 as Tween is having to fend off the attacks of both Evan and Yannick, as well as Gwen. It seems as though he's going to be demoted down to P9 in the space of a few corners. He still remains in P8, thankfully, but Spam is not far behind. So yeah, it is looking pretty close still for the top 8 positions. Meanwhile, Carl Jr. and Bernard are sure to lose half of their points. Carl Jr. sure to be moving back down to the midfield as a result of that particular blunder. Afi and Aurel battle for second and third at the moment. Aurel keeping it. Oh, Afi barely glitching the inside, and so he will be demoted down to even P8 at the moment as he battles with Gun. Oh, what happened to Tween? Oh, he goes a bit wide, but still manages to clear it. Afi barely clearing the trees. Tween still in P8. Scrappy, the fastest man on track with a 117.245 at the present moment. Papu still emerging in the lead and having a comfortable buffer, as you can see, 2.4 seconds ahead of former teammate Aurel in P2. Pac is in P3 at the moment. Evan in P4. Good showing from the Polish driver at the moment. Spam in 5th, Matt 6th. Good performance so far as well from the Space Station Gaming player on this map. Tween touching a bit on the inside, still in P7 though, so still some good points on the back potentially. Afi currently rounding out the top 8, but under pressure from his eternal rival Gwen and formerly dual partner at the Game World Duo Cup, Gwen, currently sitting in P9. Riolu and Scrappy are charging on and trying to chase him. Riolu had a bad exit though, so he's down in P12. Massa up to P11. Gwen and Scrappy battling it over for 9th position. Scrappy and Gwen really going hard at it. Afi remains in top 8 as Tween and Evan Tween and Evan exchange places. Tween in P6. Evan has made a mistake and plummets down the order. Tween clutching a bit on the outside. Down to P9. That's still not looking good for Tween as a result of that. And Massa also overtaking for P9. So yeah, not looking good at all. Aurel trying to catch back up, but he's not able to have any response to Papu's space at the moment. 117.780, the fastest lap on lap 3 for Carl Jr. Fastest lap of the race so far is 117.245. Spam is up in P3, but having to fend off the challenge from Matt. Looking pretty strong over the course of the first half of this race. Afi 5th, Gwen 6th, and seems as though we had a few other mistakes from Carl Jr. It seems like Carl Jr., Scrappy, Yannick, and it seems as though some of these have made mistakes, and we'll be seeing up in P7. Oh, what happened to Afi? Did he have a problem with his controller? It seemed really weird. I don't think a full stopping is caused by a no drift like that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that was a huge upset for Afi, looking really good. And so he is down in P11, battling it out for P11 with Carl Jr. So yeah, unfortunate stuff that happened to Afi. Meanwhile, Massa is taking advantage of this, promoted up to P8. Potentially keeping his points at the moment. Tween with a pretty bad landing, but Massa with a bit of airtime, allowing Tween to have a little bit of a breather and keep his 7th place right now. Pack in 6th position, still set to score some decent points right here through the second jump. Oh, really low clearance for Gwen at the moment. Matt really looking good as well, trying to put pressure on Pack at the moment. Massa going really towards the inside. Tween will take the tree. He'd be forced to respawn. That's pretty much over right now for Tween. Papu gets the fastest lap of the race and moves within the 117s with a 116.997. So those 2 points for the fastest lap are going to go to him at the moment on the penultimate lap. Aurel is completely gone. He is going to be having a lonely race, 4.7 seconds down on the leader. Meanwhile, Spam and Gwen having a bit of a tussle for 3rd position, and the points that do come with 3rd position, with I think are 12 points in this instance. But yeah, Gwen trying to score as much points as he can and try to keep scoring as much points as he can on this particular first step. Back in 5th place, Carl Jr. back up to 6th, and still on track to score some points and keep his points. Scrappy, though, overtaking him for P6. Carl Jr. down in 7th. Afi back into P8 after that huge full stopping that we saw of him. Massa and Riolu in 9th and 10th at the moment for the 2 Germans. Yannick's 11th, Tweed in 12th, trying to catch back up to Yannick's, but they're way too far away from safety. So yeah, it looks as though unless a mistake happens from one of the top runners, it is going to be really tough for Tween to keep his points. Meanwhile, Papu entering the final lap of the race, in command of the race at the moment. Papu with the 116.977, still the fastest man on track. Aurel in P2, 5.7 seconds away. Spam pulling away a little bit from Gwen, but as I say that, he glitches a bit too much of the grass and allows Gwen to move up to P3. Meanwhile, let's actually see Tween. Tween has had a bad landing on the second jump of the tree jump, and so it's pretty much all over here at this point in terms of keeping the points for Tween. And meanwhile, we're going to be heading back towards potentially a developing battle between Gwen and Spam. Well, it's a battle that has developed over the course of the race between Gwen and Spam. Gwen with less speed at the exit than Spam here on this section, so the Dutchman is able to get back within the clutches of the Game War player as we head onto the ice. Pretty much picture perfect ice. Oh, almost touching the tree though, and that's going to cost him some decent speed and some time, allowing Spam to move back up to 3rd position. Meanwhile, Carl and Pack trying to catch back up with each other. Afi has made a mistake and thus is 5 seconds away from safety. Meanwhile, Massa has got a pretty safe buffer to Afi in 9th place to actually try and keep his points here. Meanwhile, towards the end of the race, Aurel is in 2nd place, spamming Gwen 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the moment. Gwen in 3rd place. Papu wins the race with Aurel in P2, should be crossing the line now. Meanwhile, Gwen and Spam towards the end. It seems as though Gwen has got it on the ropes. He's got it in the back. 3rd place for Gwen, 4th place for Spam. Pack moving up to 5th, 6th place for Carl Jr., Scrappy 7th, and Massa in P8. In the first of the 50% points losers, Afi 9th. Then we see Yannick's getting overtaken by Brent, so Brent will be finishing in 10th place. Even Riolu in P11, Massa 12, Yannick's 12th, Tween in 13th place, 14th place for Matt. Yes, he managed, actually, 14th place for Evan, Matt 15th, and Kappa will be finishing in last place on the dot, but he should be able to finish anyway. 2 seconds to spare, there you go, Kappa 16th position. So, Papu with another full score, 3rd straight map win in this step, 3rd map win with fastest lap as well, so he's looking really good. 70 points for Papu in 1st place, 49 for Carl in 2nd place, 43 for Pack in 3rd position. As we head on to map number 5, we're heading into the final stage of the step. Full points loss for the bottom 8 this time around, and we are going to be having a bit of a break, in fact, between those 2 stages to allow the players to have a bit of a breather, and also the chance for me to actually go on a bit of a break. So yeah, after some pretty intense talking, it must be said, we're just going to take a quick 1 to 2 minute break before coming back with the Grand League, and also getting you to to see the interviews that I lined up for what players expect and what their goals are for this season. Anyways, quick 30-second break, just the time for me to rehydrate. Stay with us. We'll be right back. go, and we'll be getting the opportunity to hear from the players what their expectations are in this season of the Grand League. So the players we're going to be hearing from are Tween, Spam, Afi, Aurel, Scrappy, and Ryulu in no particular order.
Well, in the previous season, I can still say that I met my goal. I really was trying to make it to the playoffs, and like whatever happens there will happen there. And I think I'm keeping with the same goal this time around. I think I gained a lot of experience playing the 6-lapper mode, and I think I can use that to my advantage this time around.
I think getting into the playoffs is like the goal of everyone, so this is my goal as well. Trying to reach the playoffs, then it's just a bonus for me. And yeah, I know in case of I'm not making it into the playoffs, I'm not too much worried about the combine, since it was working pretty good for me when I was in OGL. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I at least, even if I don't make it into the playoffs, I want to have like one good step where I could just score some good points. Just show that I have the level to succeed in TMGL.
Well, I always go in TMGL by getting into the playoffs. That is always the main goal. And from there on out, we see what we can do. However, I do think that this season I can not just like be bottom fragging, but instead I can. I really feel that I can battle with the top here. So. And yeah, I do think that I can really perform. Also, yeah, with ice and the new blocks, it's really, yeah, I feel like more comfortable, let's say the least.
I still think that I'm more than capable of doing it to the playoff once again. Even more with this format for me, 6 laps, where you have to be consistent and fast as well. It's a great thing, like we've seen it previously in the season 1. Like, I got 3rd, and I could have done way better, I think. So I just hope that I will be able to make it to top 8 again.
My goal is always to get to the top 8. You know, I want to get to the playoffs. I know I can do it, and despite the more stacked field, with more talented, with more motivated players being in the field, I think I can still do it if I actually focus, if I put the time into it. Consistency is my strength, and I think I can do it. So yeah, group stage, top 8, I'll do it, and for the rest we'll see.
Basically, stay in the top 8 for the regular season. I mean, obviously there's good prize money as well on the standings in the season. We'll see. Like the primary goal is to get into playoffs, and playoffs is a whole nother thing. Nobody knows how the format will fit, if it fits, and yeah, I'll see how good I perform there. It would be nice to win, but I don't know.
So there you have it, a word from the players ahead of this first step, which were taken from the TrackMania Live that we did with Eirik Holdal a few days ago. And you can see the recap of the step as we're about to get underway again with the third and final stage, the final 2 maps of this first step. Papu first with 70 points, Carl Jr. second with 49, Pack third with 43, 34 for 34 for Aurel in fourth, 33 for Massa in fifth, 25 for Spam in 6th as we're heading back into the action. Scrappy 7th, Gwen 8th, Afi 9th, Yannick's 10th, Ryulu 7th, Bren 12th, Evon 13th, Tween and Kappa 14th and 15th, and Matt's in 16th place as we're heading into the final map, into the 5th final stage, sorry, of the step as we're heading into map 5, which is, as you can see, Halfpipe by Kisla, characterized by a series of half-pipes. This is pretty much a Tony Hawk map, and you can see that we do have the tags now for all of the players as we're going to be switching back up to Tween real quick, as we're currently seeing that our man is currently struggling in the middle of the field as we're going to be heading back towards the helicam once again for the start of this race. Papu and Carl Jr. first and second, Kappa and Massa battling it out for 3rd position, with Evon and Gwen battling it out for 5th place at the moment as we head onto the dirt. Then onto the next section, platform drop, nicely done by Papu and Carl Jr. Kappa in third place. Twin currently at the rear of the field, battling out with Matt, Yannick, and Yafi. Matt's completely faltering the transition and thus dropping down in last place. Yannick as well. So Aurel is currently bringing up the rear. Twin currently in P9, battling it out to get into the top 8. Right now with Bren, Gwen, Kappa, Evan, and even Scrappy getting into the mix. Then onto this first divot jump right here, 220 kilometers an hour around there or thereabouts to clear it. Make sure to land early on the first dip to be able to clear the second jump. Then onto the flat dirt we go. Then the lead up to the identity. Now it is important in this particular transfer jumps here, consisting of transfer jumps towards the left and right, to keep your car as straight as possible and try to keep a line low, but it is difficult with those changes of directions that are happening every so often right here. It could be happening that we see one of the players having a bit of a skewed car at the exit of one of those transfers, and so it could very well happen. Massa, meanwhile, in first place, leading the race at the moment with 126.447 for lap number 1. Spam in second place, Scrappy third, Papu fourth, Carl fifth, Brent sixth, Gwen and Pack completing the top 8, Evon, Afi, and Tween battling it out over the 9th position and trying to catch back up to the top 8 at the moment. It's still fairly close, 1.26 seconds between first and the 8th at the moment, although Kappa seems to have made an even bigger mistake than Matt, and so he's last 21 seconds down on the 8th position. Meanwhile, Tween, Evan, what happened there? That little clip is costing him dearly. Will he clear it? Yes, he will clear the jump, but he has less speed than Norel, and so he's down in P12. Meanwhile, Tween is in firm contention for a place in the top 8. In fact, he might have the chance to get it. Also, Afi getting into the mix. 222 for the first jump. Second jump, nicely cleared. Massa making the mistake at the second jump, and so he will be down. Our leader has fallen. The do or die style from Massa really showing here in this particular map. He has worked for one lap, but the second lap he completely sidelined him, as Tween still remains in 9th place. Carl Jr. inheriting the lead with first position at the moment in front of his former teammate Bren. Spam in second place, Carl in third as we head into the transfer jumps. Pack fourth. Ooh, nicely done by Tween, who's making inroads on Papu even, and will be moving up to P7 as a result of that. Scrappy made a bit of a mistake, and so he's down to P9, but still remains in contention for that top 8 slot, with only around a 10th of a gap between himself and Afi in 8th position at the moment. Tween up in P7, Pack going really towards the inside line, almost touching the wall even. Tween will be able to catch back up to him. Nice transition from Tween right here. Pack as well. Nicely done for the jump right here. Meanwhile, let's actually check in for some of the people that are in the back of the pack. Riolu is currently the last one to potentially try and have a chance to get into the top 8. Massa, Matt, Yannick, and Kappa are way too far behind to even make anything about that. Massa with that horrendous mistake on lap 2. Matt with a huge clip at this particular section on map number 1. Kappa was the fastest man on track with a 122.826 with the fastest lap of the race, but he is currently in last place, 20 seconds down on our current leader. Meanwhile, our man Tween, Papu with a bit of a bad landing at the dirt, and so that promotes Tween up to P4 even, as Scrappy moves back up, and P5, sorry. As what happened to Spam? Spam has had a bit of a moments there, almost stopping, and Carl Jr. as well. It was Carl Jr. who had to stop it. He's down in P11. He could well and truly be out of contention for the step win. Meanwhile, Gwen leads the field in front of Spam and Papu in second and third. Spam with a really crooked car, pretty bad landing there for Spam, as Gwen takes the fastest lap with the 122.459 entry in lap number 4. Papu and Spam battling it out over the second place at the moment. Riolu second fastest man on track. Half a second down on Gwen at the moment. Bren in P4 at the moment. Tween in P5. So Tween looking good to score some points and try to keep them at the very least. Battling it out with Bren over the 4th position. Currently makes it stick, but it could very well evolve in either way in this particular battle. As we can see, the battle for 8th position is really hotting up. Aurel battling it out with Riolu. Riolu moving up to P8 temporarily here. Scrappy in P6, Afi 7th. Riolu currently completing the top 8. Aurel 9th. Pack in 10th. Carl in 11th, as we're going to be heading back to Tween. Around 7/10 down on the leader. He's currently trying to fend off Bren. Did he touch the outside? He did indeed touch the outside, so Bren and Scrappy are going to blast by him before the 2 dips. He will be able to clear the jump, thankfully. Let's actually see if he clears the second one. Ooh, that was really close, though. Almost clipped. If you clip the inside... Bren also clipping the inside here on this dirt corner. But if you clip the border of the road at the landing of the second jump, it could be all over, as it tanks your speed so much. Afi trying to pressure Tween for the benefit of P6 right now. But Scrappy and Bren having a tussle of their own for P5 4 at the moment. Gwen, Spam, and Papu again in that order. 1, 2, 3 as we head towards the end of lap number 4. Sorry, Riolu. Actually, Afi blasting by Tween, and Riolu moving up into contention for P7 at the moment. Penultimate lap initiated for pretty much all of the top runners. Pack and Riolu trying to close the gap to Tweed and try to get themselves into the top 8. Aurel as well. Carl Jr. with that mistake is 4 seconds down on top 8, so he's way too far away from safety to his liking. He could very well be out of the running of the first step already. Afi makes a huge blunder with the nose bug, and so he will be down in 10th place and will be losing his points. Go Tween, Spam, go Tween and Shot. He's in 6th place. He definitely needs your support right now. Remember that he can see your support in the chat, so make sure to spam go Tween, guys. Bren currently, with a bit of a sketchy correction from Bren. He was forced to counter steer. Tween moving up to P5, but not for long, as both Pack and Bren are catching up with him as we're heading into the landing. Bad landing from Pack. He's down in P9. Pack could lose 43 points on the spot. Aurel moving up to P8, and look at this, the battle is really insane here for P5. Tween is in front, but look at count for Riolu and Bren currently looking to try and salvage as much points as they can and try to keep those points as well. Tween has nothing to lose at this point. He only has 6 points on the board. Meanwhile, Gwen and Papu in first and second. Spam getting overtaken by Papu in this instance as we're getting towards the final lap of this map. Bren moving up to P6, moving up to P5. Gwen still holding the fastest lap of the race as we head into the final lap of this 5th race of the step. Nice clearance from Tween here. Bren 5th, Tween 6th, Papu, Riolu. What's happened to Gwen, the leader? The leader has made a mistake on the landing, and he's down in P9. He could well lose 21 points. The man who's led the last few laps is out of the running right now. At the present moment, Papu with 70 points inherits the lead with an 8/10 buffer to Spam in 2nd place, Scrappy 3rd, Bren 4th, and Tween is looking safer than ever in 5th position at the moment and tries to make some inroads on Bren heading into the dirt right now. Bren going really low, almost faltering at the jump, but he manages to keep it under control. Tween manages to keep P5. He will be able to score some decent points, finally keep them as we're heading onto the dip. 223. Landing early, get the second jump right. He gets it right, even a bit better than Brent, but Brent has more speed towards the exit, so he will be able to retain that. Pack is challenging now for P5. He's gonna have to try and relent the assault, but meanwhile at the front, Spam and Scrappy are past Papu. Papu made a mistake and Scrappy could be on for his first map win of the season. Currently battling up with Spam over the course of the final identity. We're gonna have to see. First identity crossing, Spam has less speed than Scrappy. Scrappy has less speed than Spam on the second crossing. Papu getting back into the mix. It's gonna be over to the finish line to the side. It seems as though Spam will win it for less than 1/100th of a second. Papu 3rd and Tween moving up to 4th place at the last minute. Brent 5th, Pack 6th, Aurel 7th, Riolu 8th. Afi 9th, Carl Jr. in P10, Gwen in 11th place, Massa 12th position, Yannex in P13, P14 for Matt, P15 for Evon, who's not even going to be able to finish. Kappa moving up to P15 and Evon no points. It is going to be devastating for Evon, the only non-point scorer, 0 points on the board. Or did he finish? No, he did not. So yeah, victory for Spam here. 2 points for Massa with the fastest lap on 122.311. Tween moving up to 8th with 16 points as a result of that. 82 points for Papu in the lead of the step as we're heading into the final map of step 1. It is going to be Switch Bridge by Firestorm. The map to end. Sorry for the burp. So yeah, the final map of the entire step right here. The final map where everything can happen. As you see in the lower third, it is Switch Bridge by Firestorm, and the identity is a series of teetering jumps from left to right on the identity, ranging from road to grass to dirt. As we're heading into the map right now, first check mode right here after this ice turn. Make sure to exit a little bit as late as you can to get the transition right on the road. Then onto this platform turn, make sure to get a low line onto the platform, then go towards the inside of the poles right here, as you can see from the perspective of Kappa. Outside of the poles right here, then onto the jump. Then wall ride right here. The first time that we see a wall ride in the Grand League maps for this season. Wall ride and then a transfer jump right here. Keeping a low line is essential here for maximum speed onto the dirt section. Then straighten your car for this platform jump. Nicely executed by everyone. Everybody fighting flat out, no drift needed. Drift needed for this section right here, though, as we hand it to the dirt, straighten the car out to avoid having a bit of an unwanted slide and catch it and careen towards the wall. As we're heading into the identity right now with this jump towards the identity with the bump road. First teetering jump through the poles, then through the poles again onto the grass part. Go to the inside, then through the outside the poles for the dirt. Go towards the inside, then outside those poles and through the two. Very much like a rugby match. And onto the final quarter for the final turn. And across the line to start a new lap on Switchbridge. That's the end of this presentation. Good luck, have fun, everyone. Final map, Tween currently 8th in the standings with 16 points after having a bit of a shaky start to the step itself. He might be on to score some decent points and try to get his season underway, but nobody can take away the impressive performance from Papu right now. It could still all unravel at the end of it, so we're gonna have to be really careful on how things develop here on this 6th and final map. The Helicam here for the final time in this step. Bren currently emerging in the lead in front of Tween, Papu, and Gwen. Everybody remaining fairly grouped after the first few checkpoints. No big mistakes so far. Riolu currently bringing up the rear, around half a second from safety. Gwen emerging in the lead in front of Carl, Afi, Pax, Scrappy, Kappa, Evon, Mats, Yannick, Bren, Papu, and Tween. Massa and Riolu bringing up the rear, getting a little bit left behind. Let's actually check in on the last man to be in the top 8 right now. It is Evon trying to safeguard that top 8 position, but it seems as though it's getting really hard as Matt and Pac are re-emerging back into frame, and Tween as well, looking pretty good so far on this start as we're heading onto the identity for the first time after this dirt jump right here. Gwen leading the field by 3/10. Orel in P2, battling it out with Kappa, Carl Jr., Pac, and Afi. Spam as well getting in the mix, Matt in the mix as well. Oh, someone failed the first jump. Who was it? Let's actually check in on the Helicam. It was Matt who failed the jump, Yannick as well. So 2 contenders out. Tween seems to be a little bit behind in terms of pace compared to the rest, but still no big mistakes so far. Gwen takes the line first. After the results of lap number 1, it is going to be a 114.897 for Gwen for the first benchmark of the fastest lap. A bit of a teetering landing for Carl Jr. even, who moves down to P10, moving up to P7, then is Tween catching back up to Bren, fending off the attacks of Evan. Bren with the worst landing, much more speed with the wider line from Tween, moves him up to P6, and he's going to be on the charge to catch back up to Papu right now in P5. Papu on the transfer, let's see. Everybody remaining fairly neat and tidy here. Massa, the last man into the top 8, 1.1 seconds down on the leader. Bit of a teetering landing from Tween, allowing Evon with a perfect landing to move back up to contention for P6, and even Massa moving up to contention for P7 as a result of that, ending onto the dirt. Gwen and Orel 1 and 2, 2/10 down on 2/10 between the two. Massa though with a bit of a bad turn. Brennan sees Afi, Brennan spam move past him, and so he's down to P10 as a result of that. Meanwhile, Evon and Tween are going to be moving up to P5 and P6 respectively. Afi though has a bit of a word to say about that and thus moves up to P5 himself. Tween currently in 6th position, trying to put the pressure on Afi. Meanwhile, Kappa in 3rd place takes the fastest lap with a 111.033. We are so close to seeing a 110 being performed on Switchbridge at the moment, but we are gonna have to wait and see. There's still 4 laps of the race left to run, so anything can still happen. Meanwhile, Gwen is in the lead in front of Kappa, Papu, and Orel in the top 4. Tween is currently in P5. Make sure to spam Go Tween in the chat, guys. He needs your support. He knows that that you're supporting him, so make sure to spam that as much as you can to show him your love and show him your support in this step. Afi in P6, Evon in P7, battling it out with Scrappy for the benefit of 7th position. And as so far, there are the remaining players in the top 8 as we're seeing Spam trying to catch back up to the battle for the top 8 as well. Bren is also in the mix with Riolu, a little bit further away, as well as Carl Jr. Yannick's a bit too far to make anything happen, and Massa, Pac, and Matt, Pac having made a mistake, are completely out of it. Back at risk of losing 51 points, which would be no bueno for the 2016 World Champion, as Papu has retaken the lead. Gwen has made a mistake! Gwen has made a mistake in the identity. Spam moving up past him in P8. Oh, and the dirt was really less than ideal. He's down to P10. Gwen is down in P10 after the identity. So yeah, Carl Jr. moving up to P8, spamming P7. Meanwhile, Tween moving up to P3, battling it out with Orel. So Tween looking to make some really solid inroads, although he went a bit wide there, allowing Orel to move back up to P3. Papu in the lead then, with a 4/10 buffer to Kappa in second position at the moment. Kappa looking pretty good to score finally some decent points after the pretty shaky start as well to this Grand League step, including losing all of his points on map number 5. Aurel and Tween meanwhile battling over third position. It's looking really, really intense. Make sure to support Tween right now. Pampa with the fastest up. No! What's happened to Tween? Brent's past him. He's down in P13. That's absolutely devastating to see. 10 places lost on the spot in the blink of an eye. He's still 1.7 seconds down. So in case of a mistake by one of the top runners, he could still try and catch back up to the leaders. 1:10.761, I was going to say, is the fastest lap right now for Papu, leading the race. Kappa in P2. Aurel promoted to P3. Evon up in P4. Afi and Spam battling it out for P4 as well with Afi. Riolu and Gwen 7th and 8th. Carl Jr.'s 9th. Bren, oh, what happened to Tween? I think it's all over, guys. Oh no. He's down 8 seconds down on the top 8, and he is out of it. He's in P15. He's about to lose all of his points in about 2 laps time. Kappa and Papu. Papu made a mistake, and thus he's down in P2. Kappa inheriting the lead, although Papu has taken the fastest lap of the race for himself with a 1:10.723. Evon in 3rd, Spam in 4th. What happened to Spam? He's at a bad landing, so Evon in P4. Papu being dropped there, and so Evon moving up to P3. Really huge thing for Evon right here. Afi trying to get a slice of the pie as well, trying to catch back up to 3rd place. Evon with a bad landing and with less speed gets overtaken by Afi and Spam. Afi 2nd place even. Papu down to 4th. Evon 5th. Carl, Riolu, and that completes your top 8. Scrappy half a second down. Aurel in P10. We're having a bit of a connection issue here. You can see with the synchronization of the server right here. Bren is in 11th place. Pack in P12. Yannick's 13th. 14th. Massa 15th. Tween trying to catch back up to Massa at the very least, and Matt is down in last place as we're heading onto the final lap of the race. We're going to see the perspective of Kappa, who is entering as the leader into the final lap of the race. Afi in 2nd place. Papu in P3 trying to catch back up and overtake Afi for 2nd position onto the ice. It seems as though he's going to make it stick before the dirt even. Papu moving up to 3rd place. Spam moving up to in P4 right now, trying to catch back up to Afi and Papu. It's going to be a huge battle for 2nd position right here. Evon in P5, Carl in P6, a bit far away, a bit further than he would like to be. Gwen in 7th place and 8th place for Scrappy at the moment, who is the last to be in the top 8. Pack could be set to lose 51 points and be out of contention for this step at the final map. Kappa, meanwhile, is leading the race. Afi in P2 is trying to make a breakaway from Papu, currently pulling around 0.4 of a second clear of Papu in 2nd position. And Spam overtaking Papu for 3rd place. Papu down to P4 temporarily at the very least as we head on to the identity for the final time. And to round off this step, Kappa is in the lead, 1.5 seconds in front of Afi in 2nd position. Let's actually check the perspective of the leader right now. First jump done, 2nd jump done, 3rd jump done. Let's actually see the 4th and final jump. Nicely done by everyone here. Let's actually see. It's going to be done for Kappa, who moves up into 1st place. Afi will be getting P2. Papu overtaking Spam at the line and taking the 3rd position. Papu 4th, Evon 5th, Carl Jr. 6th, Gwen 7th, and Scrappy in P8. Riolu 9th, Pack in 10th, Yannick's 11th, Massa with the fast. Massa 12th, Brent 13th, Matt 14th, and unfortunately for our man, it's a 15th place, and all the 16 points that he scored are lost. Only 2 points at the end of this step for Tween. 16th place for Aurel. He knows that he cannot finish. It seems like he's got a connection issue though. Pack does take the 2 points for the fastest step, but that's only a meager consolation for him. 51 points are down the drain. 1:10.488, the fastest lap from Pack here. 92 points then, the final ranking for this step. 92 points for Papu, who wins it. 57 for Spam in 2nd place. 41 for Scrappy, moving up to 3rd place. Kappa 4th place for him with 22 points. Afi 5th with 19. Carl Jr. 6th with 13. Gwen 7th with 11. And 8th place for Evon with 9. Pack 9th place with 7 points. 5 points for Riolu in 10th. 11 points. And 11th and 12th for Massa and Yannick's with 11 points equal. 3 points for Matt and Bren in 13th and 14th, 2 points for Tween in 15th place, and no points for Aurel as a result of that non-finish on the final map. Hello, Tween. So yeah, we all saw that what happened. It looked really good after map 5. It must be said. You were looking to score some pretty good, a good decent amount of points at least after the rather rocky start that you had, but it wasn't to be in the end at the step. How do you reflect on that opening step of the fall season?
Honestly, all throughout the match, it went exactly as I anticipated it to, because well, let's just say the first map didn't fit me at all, and I knew that I was not going to place well there, and basically an absolute catastrophe happened like 20 seconds in, so I kind of gave up at that point. So that was the first map. Then the second one was more to my liking, I guess, and yeah, I think we saw more closer rounds there. I think I got like 8 or something. That was a little better. And then there were those 2 pretty rocky maps for me. There were 3rd and 4th maps, and yeah, I was just trying to maybe try to hold on to my points, but I wasn't like wasn't really anticipating it too much. I'll be honest, especially on the icy map. And
yeah, on tree jump, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Like both of them were pretty rocky, and I knew that like a lot of things could happen to me there, and yeah, those went like I know how to improve on them for the next step. That's for sure, because they will still be played. And as we are going down to the last 2 maps, I knew those were my best maps. That's for sure. And the first of them, half pipe, I was really that felt really good, honestly. Like all throughout the race.
Yeah, you were looking really strong out there in terms of pace and in terms of pace out there, and being able to pick away at some of the mistakes from the others that we've seen so far in the casting booth, such as Massa, unfortunately having a stonking opening lap, but unfortunately binning it after lap 2, basically. So yeah, it seemed as though you were really strong on the half pipe.
Yeah, that map is really good, especially that I feel like I can manage my risks there. So I feel like I can consciously like step away from the gas for a bit and lose maybe half a second or something, and not have it destroy my run, right?
Yeah.
And at the last laps, I could see that I'm not reaching the very top, but I tried to. I think it was Orel that was pretty close to me in fighting, and yeah, that's where I choose a bit of a calculated risk, and it paid off. So I got 4th there. That was really satisfying. And yeah, the last map, I think you saw what happened there.
Yeah,
yeah.
We were all behind you there. It was really unfortunate about that platform jump at the exit of the dirt part after the transfer. That was really looking good. It was really devastating to see. But yeah, we would like to give you kudos for your effort, because it was really looking good out there for the final 2 maps at the very least for this opening step. And yeah, cracking on for the second part of the second step coming next week. What are going to be your key points points that you're going to be working on towards the final towards the next step on Sunday?
Yeah, so it's going to heavily depend on the maps, but for now I know that especially maps 3 and 4 are going to be pretty good for me. I can push really fast times there, and if I get to keep my points, then it's all up to the last two maps to keep them to the very end. And I felt a little nervous at the start of the 5th map, and that was sort of unexpected, because I was really confident on that map, and all of a sudden I was like really shaky in real life. So yeah, I had to calm myself down a little there. I hope that's not going to happen next week. It's really the combined pressure of this being the first step, you know, and maybe haven't been competing in a while, so you kind of get a little out of it, and all of a sudden you can lose all your points, and that felt pretty pressuring. And I last season I think it went away a little at the end, because you start to get the idea that there's this next week and you can always do well, so
yeah,
there's no need to like keep your head down.
Yeah, it is pretty understandable with the gap that we have between the various competitions, between the 2 seasons of the Grand League for first up, but also between the various competitions that happened ever since the release of TrackMania. But yeah, overall you're going away from the step thinking that it went as well as you would have expected, in your own words. Still some pretty encouraging pace from you, IMO, from what we saw on map 5 and map 6, so it is definitely looking good. final question for me. Excited to come back to the Grand League? Excited for the month and a half of racing that we have ahead of us?
Yeah, of course. I really enjoyed getting into like getting into the base of weekly competitions like it was last season, and I'm that kind of player that kind of gains momentum as the tournament goes. So I hope that's going to work in my favor this time. Yeah,
right.
That's about it.
Thank you very much for your time, Tween. We're against Star for what happened on map 6, but yeah, still some definitely positive takeaways, and yeah, crack on step 2. See you next week, man.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. There you have it. He had the word from the man himself, a step where he didn't really expect all of that much, but still some pretty encouraging pace, especially with the last 2 maps being Halfpipe and Switchbrigs that are going to be becoming the stage 2 maps next week on the step 2, with the two new maps also. 2 new maps being added as soon as a few hours later after the step, I think. So yeah, make sure to tune in next time. That was step 1 of the Grand League. It's not the only step. We have 5 more of these to go, 5 more weeks of racing, and so take note and make sure to book your appointment for next week, September 20th at 8 p.m. CST, for the TrackMania Grand League second step of the fall 2020 season. Will be going live around the quarter of an hour to 20 minutes before the go time, with a bit of a pre-show with the recap of what happened in this step, of what is going to be the key points of this particular second step, with a potentially a new look at the 2 new maps that are going to be part of the map pack for the final stage, and much more. So that's been it for step 1. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure to follow us at Knights.GG on Twitter, and to follow the Pittsburgh Knights channel, and hit the bell to be notified whenever we go live with the Grand League, or with any other competition for that matter. We had RLCS The Grid, we had the Knights Valorant League as well, the Valorant Gauntlet. We had a bunch of competitions over the summer, and it's still continuing to roll. We would like to thank our sponsors, HyperX, Blogs by Zenny Sheets, and our most recent one, ExpressVPN. And yeah, that's been it for me, Thomas Mengozi, aka GGeek. If you want to follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TMGgeek, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, at TMGgeek on Twitter. That's it for me. I'm taking it offline for this week. Thank you very much again for watching the very first step of the TrackMania Grand League's Fall 2020 season. And as always, we'll see you all next time. Godspeed, people!